Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Lauren. So today's soundtrack is brought to you by the rain that's right outside my window right now. The lovely sounds of the last day of the year. Oh yeah, hello, welcome to 2020. Is anybody else super excited for New Year's resolutions like I am? I've been annoying my friends nonstop for months about New Year's resolutions. So that's kind of what has brought me to today's video. I thought it would be really fun to sit down with you guys and offer you literally everything I can offer you about how to begin and finish a 365 project and all of the crazy things that happen in between, what to do, how to do it, when to quit maybe, when to power through. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. That always feels weird to say, but whatever. And let me know if you have any suggestions for future videos. I always have a bunch of ideas, but I always want to see what you guys are interested in as well. So without further ado, literally everything you need to know about a 365 project. So, for those of you guys who don't know, I got my start in photography doing a 365 project, actually. It was on this day, 10 years ago, that I impulsively was like, I'm gonna do a 365 project. And I didn't even really have a real camera at all. I just decided on a whim to do it because I had been watching the Flickr community and that aspect of the internet, and so I really wanted to become a part of it. So I decided January 1st, 2010, I'm going to do a 365 project. So I completed my first 365 in 2010. I did a 52-week project, one photo a week, in 2011. I did another 365 project in 2012. In 2014, I did a 365 Instagram project where I posted one picture to my Instagram every day, and that was mostly just phone images. And then in 2017, I did a half-completed 365 project. I think I ended on day 171. Halloween or something like that, actually. So I have done my fair share of year-long projects in some way, shape, or form, and like to think I know the ins and outs of it a little bit. So the very first thing is deciding what project you want to do. You've come to the conclusion that you want to do some sort of year-long project. We've firmly established that. But then the next question is whether or not you want to do a 365 project or a 52-week project, or maybe one photo a month, maybe a photo every 2 weeks. It really just depends on your schedule and the amount of time you're able to commit to the project. It can get pretty tedious depending on what you are wanting to accomplish and the types of images that you're making as well. So you definitely want to keep time commitment in mind, and then you also want to, maybe to a lesser extent, keep in mind the goals that you want to achieve for the project. My goal for a year-long project is usually just to do it, and just to have an assignment of I need to complete this image every week or every day, and that's the only guideline that I have. But you can always go into it with a more succinct goal. Maybe you want to get better at lighting, maybe you want to get better at working with models and things like that, and then you can cater your project towards your specific goal. But I tend to keep it open. I have a few guidelines for this year's 52-week project, but I generally like to keep it open so that even more experimentation is able to be done throughout the project. Step number 1 for completing a 365 project. First of all, you want to give yourself clear guidelines. My guidelines tend to revolve around subject matter. So my first 365 project was only self-portraits. My 52-week project was only portraits. So I extended that to making photographs of other people. My 2012 365, I decided to leave it open to totally anything, and I felt like that was a mistake because it allowed me to be a little bit lazier with day-to-day photographs, whereas if I had a person that was the subject matter, I could at least involve a bit more emotion into the image that I was making every day. Versus if I was just photographing an object, it was really easy to do it last minute and not care about it at all, and that wasn't my goal for doing the whole thing in the first place. So you can make it based on a certain subject matter. You can also base it on a certain theme if you want to do something like that. And one thing that I really like doing with a 365 project is that since it's such a long project, you're able to have smaller projects within the larger time frame. So I really like taking a week or two to dissect a song and like interpret the lyrics into a few images, or doing like images based on a lyric or based on a poem, or going out and trying to make images based on the letters of the alphabet or something like that. You have a bunch of freedom to make smaller projects within your larger 365 project. And that's one of the things that I really, really love about it, because then you can explore all of these different kinds of avenues. And then you could also consider, probably to a lesser extent, but also maybe consider the kind of style you are hoping to achieve as well. I tend to totally disregard that and just focus on experimenting and having fun and not limiting myself to a certain style. But that's also something to keep in mind if you want to shoot film, if you want to shoot more editorial style, if you want to do action, if you want to do still life, or maybe if you want to do more photo compositing, you can cater your project towards that instead. So there's a whole bunch of different ways you can approach this, and different things to consider. So once you have your clear guidelines or goals for the overall year, the next step is your planning step. And you can do all of this to varying degrees of intensity. I tend to plan a little bit less day to day and just kind of go with whatever my emotions take me. But I do like to keep in mind a list of concepts that I want to explore, either general ideas or something as specific as a singular photo, maybe some words or phrases that I find really resonate with me. I also like to keep in mind certain locations and certain people that I can use as potential subject matter, which is really helpful if you are wanting to go out and dedicate a little bit more time to an image, but you don't necessarily have enough time to think of an idea right away. You can pull from your catalog of past ideas that you've come up with, so that when you're ready to let the inspiration strike, so to speak, you already have it all prepped and ready to go. And then of course in your planning you also want to keep in mind scheduling day to day, if you want to do indoors or outdoors, and then the amount of light that is in the sky. So it's good to keep in mind that balance of indoor and outdoor lighting and which images and concepts will work better with the different types of lighting that you have available to you. Okay, tip number 1, random tip from Lauren. Here we go. Tip number 1, the best camera is the one you have with you. The best camera is the one you have with you. I have made some amazing 365 images on phone cameras, and I've made really bad images with really nice cameras. So the best camera is the one you have with you, and you should never let your equipment get in the way of you pushing yourself creatively. And in fact, I could argue that the less equipment you have, the more creative you are able to be. Tip number 2, the best light is the available light. Yes, folks, it's true. You do not need fancy photo equipment or lighting setups to make beautiful images. The best light is the available light. And I love making the most ridiculous looking setups with phone flashlights, with laptop lights, with lights taped to the wall, with things hanging off of upturned trash cans. Like, whatever you got to make it work, we'll make it work. All right, step number 3, actually going out and shooting for your project. First things first, you will make disgustingly terrible photos. Especially for a 365 project, most of your images are going to be terrible. Some of them will be lovely, but most of them will be bad, and that is a great thing. In our world of oversaturation, it's very easy to make a good image nowadays. But the overall lesson that I have found from these sort of year-long projects is that truly, 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 the way to get better is to make a lot of work. And people say that, and that's because it's true. So the 365 project, honestly, if you can make the ugliest work, I dare you to try and make the ugliest photo that you can make. And it might surprise you. When you go out to shoot, things will go wrong. They will always go wrong. The idea that you had in your head that you thought was brilliant turns out to be a very stupid idea, and that is okay. The fun and exciting part about the 365 project is that you learn very quickly to think on your toes, because sometimes your A plan, your B plan, and your C plan do not go to plan, but you really, really still want to make a good image for today. So you push and you keep going farther and farther, and you keep pushing the image farther and farther from that original concept. And what you come out with is something that's even better than what you originally had hoped for. And you just need to go into each day and each shoot with an open mind. Just allow whatever flows to flow out of you. It's going to be different from what you had in your head, and that is what is so much fun about it. And sometimes simple is better. I have seen a lot of photos that have really interesting, complex concepts that are just executed so poorly, and then I've seen some photographs that have a really, really simple, and then they are just portrayed in the most beautiful way. Sometimes the simple ideas are really, really the ones that are the most impactful, and it's okay to have a simple image. You don't have to make something crazy, fancy, and mind-blowing every single day of the entire year, because that is literally impossible. Oh, hi, kitty. Hi. What do you think? Alright, number 4 thing to consider, sharing online. Should we share our photos online? I will say all the positives of sharing things online. There are many negatives, and I'm not sure if it's possible to protect ourselves from the negatives anyways. But that's a different video. I think it's actually very, very important to share your project online. Not only does it give you the biggest thing, accountability for posting every single day or every single week, because people will be watching you, even if it's just your mom watching you, people will be watching you. But then you can also get really good feedback and fine line with all of this, and you'll be able to see which images perform better with your viewership. You'll be able to see which types of photos people are most engaged with, and the images that people find most impactful to them. Of course, fine line, asterisk, etc., etc. And I find that it's very empowering to both share things you are very proud of and things that you are not so proud of. With the 365 project especially, you have to post every single day. Even if your photo is a piece of crap, you still have to post it because there's a picture due every single day. And so it becomes a very humbling and exciting experience when you do get to share those images that aren't very good and that you aren't proud of, and because then you get to learn why you aren't proud of those, and it helps you look at your future images in a different way and see how you can fix those mistakes that you made before. Okay, and number 5, knowing when to quit. First of all, quitting does not mean that you have failed the project. Sometimes there are extenuating circumstances that make you quit the project, and that is allowed. So you definitely do not fail if you decide to quit the project. You're really just realizing that you have fulfilled your goal with the project. And the reason I had quit my latest 365 project was because it felt like a chore to do, and I found that I didn't necessarily have enough time with my jobs to dedicate it to the 365 project, and it just made me I just didn't enjoy going out and making an image every single day. So I decided to quit because if I wasn't having fun with the project and it was just a burden to me, then I wasn't going to do it anymore. And I think it's important to realize that quitting is okay. Like, it's okay to quit. But you also, there's definitely a point, and sometimes a couple points within the 365 project, where you hit a wall and it does start to get really, really hard. And I definitely encourage everybody to push through that part of the 365 project, because once you get past that hump and make it to the other side, it's a lot more smooth sailing from there on out. But there's definitely, when you hit about like 120, day 120, that's when you kind of start to hit the first bump, at least I've found. And it's really important to push through the couple days and couple weeks where it's really difficult to make an image every single day. Cause then you finally start to get into the hang of it, and you're able to pull out ideas quicker. It's all the idea of learning to retrain your brain to create a new habit in your life. So now you're creating the habit of coming up with ideas and images every single day, and eventually you do start to plateau. There's that plateau effect, but then once you make it past the plateau, you're able to just skyrocket from there, and it's amazing. You'll have so much fun. All right, 6 final thoughts. 1, every single person should do a 365 project at least once in their life, even if it's just taking a photo with your phone every single day, even if it's just for like personal documentation of your life. You should do it. It's so much fun. Century, what? It's so much fun to get to look back on at the end of the year and see your entire year documented. It's really fun. And for me personally, the 365 project totally changed my life. Like I said, I decided to do it on an absolute whim. I remember laying in my bed as the fireworks were going off, and I just had the thought, I'm gonna do a 365 project. And I didn't even really have a real camera. I didn't have any experience whatsoever, and it was by far the best decision I ever made in my life. So if you've ever considered doing a 365 project, if you've ever thought about doing some sort of year-long documentation, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you do it. It's so much fun. It will absolutely change your life. It was honestly one of the best decisions I ever made in my entire life. What better day to start than January 1st, 2020. New decade, baby! And if you want, I'm also doing a 52-week project this year, which I'm so excited for. So if you want to follow along, you can follow me on my photo Instagram, and I'll be posting a picture every single week there. And yeah, let me know if you're going to be doing a 365 project or a 52-week project, or let me know any of your New Year's resolutions. Like I said, I'm obsessed. I love New Year's, and I love goals for the year. I know it's sometimes super cheesy, but it's really nice to feel like you have a fresh start every year. So I'm very excited, and I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. Let me know if you did or didn't. And yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. See you later.